Yeah, it's gonna. Welcome to Burning Metal Shooting the Breeze, episode 26. In this episode, I'm joined by Haint, who are doing a special on before their appearance at Bloodstock Festival next weekend. How are things, lads?
Good, really good. Thanks for having us on, man.
No bother. You're looking forward to playing one of the biggest music metal festivals in the world, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait. Some crazy lineup. Loads of bands. Testament with Lombardo. Say no more. I'm there.
And the beauty of it as well too is you're on Friday when the crowd is still going to be relatively fresh, and you've got the weekend to yourself then afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we're playing the Sunday or something, everybody be just
hanging,
dying, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I get them while they're fresh on Friday is probably a good idea, you know.
And before they're too drunk as well. We're in the afternoon, so
yeah, we're in the afternoon.
Early enough that they'll hopefully remember us.
That's good. That's good. That means all the Irish bands on the New Blood are on Friday. So Four Not Tombs and yourselves, you're all playing on Friday.
Yep.
Which is unusual to have them all on the one day, but still it's beneficial to you all because, as you said, the crowd is going to be fresher. Because I was at Bloodstock last year, and Words That Burn were on at 12 o'clock on Sunday morning, and the Crawling lads, Andy and Stuart and everyone was there, but it was just like, don't look at anyone, just watch the band and fuck off again, don't talk to me,
I also everybody was so shit-faced, is that what it was?
Oh no,
look at the weather.
Sorry, Darren?
Just because I had a look at the weather. You know, the weather forecast, you can't really trust these things this far away, but there was a suggestion of rain on Friday afternoon. I was like, no, that's good, because everybody will come into the tent then.
That is actually really beneficial, because if it does rain, anyone and everyone will pack into that tent,
Yep. That is the plan.
And of course, you're dropping it's amazing, you're 3 years a band, but you might as well be 3 weeks a band the way it's gone, really, in all fairness, isn't it?
It's quite strange how things panned out. Yeah. Because we'd got together in that July, got things to where we were like, yeah, let's gig. And then our first ever show was the Heat for Metal of the Masses, you know. And then we played that first gig and then nothing for 18 months, you know. It was just like, what do you do? You know, but I think it was, probably we'll all agree, it was probably really beneficial to the three of us. So we could find our sound and find out who we were individually and what we wanted to do with this thing, you know. And yeah, this year's just been unreal. Unreal. Still pinching ourselves.
Yeah, it was it's when you think back about it now, it was such a strange time, wasn't it? It was just, it's amazing you actually survived. A lot of bands that were new like that, they might have just said fuck this, and especially when they're only getting going, but you kept going anyway. You braved it through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we probably were working our hardest during the pandemic, you know, and just writing stuff and again, just trying to craft the sound that we have now, and just get the songs to where they needed to be. Because whenever we have a plan, we kind of focus on a particular goal, and the goal at that time during the pandemic, it was let's just get this material as tight as we possibly can, because we already know that we're going to be carried forth into this year's competition, straight into the semi-finals. So let's go back in swinging. It was the aim of the game.
I think as well, it's also worth remembering now that some of those songs were already a couple of years old by the time we had Steve. So by the time Steve joined, so the band is only 3 years old, but Ian and me had been writing some of these songs for a good 2 or 3 years before that.
Yeah.
So it was a case of with Steve then, and when we played the first Metal to the Masses, I think it's fair to say we were actually a little bit underprepared, because the music had been going for years and we were tight there, but vocally we were still trying to find our way.
Yeah.
And I would say that's one of the big things with COVID, is that we were able to explore what we wanted to do vocally. which I think is one of the things in a way that sets us apart as well, because we do all the harmonies and the screams and the overlays and the call and response, and we were able to take the time to go out. What can we do between the two of us? What are we capable of, while still trying to play this music underneath it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be a big staple of your sound. All right, the dual vocals, like, it's not, you don't see it very often, like.
No, and it was very conscious. We were all very conscious from the start that that's what we wanted to do. You know, how we were going to do it, we had no idea, because like the music underneath can be pretty complex. Like, but we just pushed ourselves, you know, and we all did.
We both come from bands, or with both bands where we've done some form of lead vocal.
Yeah.
The last couple.
Well, you obviously done something right, because you're playing Bloodstock, like.
Yeah. Took a while to kick in, like.
Well, I think if anybody videoed us on the night and saw our reactions when they announced it, we were just like, what?
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. Honestly, genuinely couldn't believe it. With the other bands that were playing, I absolutely shocked when our name got called out.
Yeah. I genuinely thought Nomadis had it. Because they were just a tour de force. Like, even in the semi-finals, I got to see their semi-final set, and it was just unreal. And I think every band was just on the money. Throughout the semi-finals and the final, you know, and you look at bands like Survivalists and like, again, big heavyweights in the Belfast scene, you know, it was just really surprising. Yeah, but
yeah, yourself and Nomadis, you've got a lot in common in the regards that you kind of, they played their third ever gig was the first Metal to the Masses final they got in 2019, so
that's right.
You kind of both used the Metal to the Masses to really springboard yourselves out there, which was great, like, for everyone. Like.
Yeah, and I think that's the lovely thing about, you know, I'm always kind of hesitant about the whole competition side of things, you know, but there was definitely a lot of camaraderie there as well. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of that every band for themselves. You know, there was camaraderie between all the bands, and again, as I said, everybody was on point, and it is such a springboard. Like, you know, hats off to Bloodstock and Simon. You know, there's no other festival that I can think of that is put in so much into the local scene, you know, into local bands, you know, because that's where the talent's at.
Just something went wrong there. Oops. Sorry, everybody give me a fright.
That's the game.
Fucking hell. Whoops. Anyways, and you're saying about the local scene, like, look what happened with 10 Ton Slug. Like, they got onto the New Blood stage, and then they played the Sophie Lancaster stage a few years later. Like,
yeah, same as the Crawling.
Crawling, yeah.
Like, Andy and Sturdy and those guys are good mates of ours. Like, we've known them for a long, long time, and it's it just shows there's still life in the old dogs yet, like, because all of us we're all in our 40s, you know, and it's it just, like, we have been there, we've done that, and has that helped us? I think so. You know, we know what we want, we know what the pitfalls are, and we know we're not afraid to get in the van and get away and do all these things and pull on resources and pull on friendships we've had over, you know, a couple of decades, you know, and it's been beneficial.
That's it. We bring the experience. We bring experience. Yeah, we've all been around the block a while, so
yes,
not too long.
Yeah, even yourself, Darren, you were previously in Condemned, which is Andy Clark's brother Peter, of course. You were all kind of tied in together over the years anyway. And
it's all so well tied in together. Yeah, so I played bass in Condemned 20 years ago. And I only left. I actually moved over to Manchester, lived in Manchester for about 15 years. That was it. So that was why I had to leave just because it was moving over. But even that, yeah. See, I'd have to do the math to work out how long ago that was, but that was quite a while. But yeah, with Condemned, I mean, supported Napalm Death a couple of times with Condemned.
Wow, that's good.
We had a bit of a technical error there. Let me just pause it for a sec. Oh, unfortunately, we had a bit of a technical error there, but we're back up and running again. The beauty of Zoom, it's a kind of a staple of the whole 2 years when a lot of people were just talking away, and one of them in the corner was like that for the last 5 minutes. But anyway, sorry, Darren, we were saying there that you played bass in Condemned with Peter Clark, and you were friends with Andy and all the rest, and you were all tied in. And of course, Ian was with stand-up guy.
Yeah, that was it. We all knew each other. We're all friends from that, and that's how it all started with us, because I had known Ian for so many years. Back in the days when Condemned and Stand Up Guy would have gigged together. I think I found some flyers recently of old gigs and stuff, and
yeah,
found an old web. I found an old magazine. I actually put pictures up online. Very, very old. Must have been a free little publicity thing, and it had actually Stand Up Guy and Condemned in it from back in the day. And was that 2002 or something? I think that was from.
Yeah,
It comes back to the age and the experience. With
20 years, like that is
been doing it for a while.
Yeah, and of course, there was a sadness in the camp as well too, with Andy Clark's band, and of course, Condemned with your old mate, the drummer Willie Taylor, passed away in 2014 as well too. Like,
yeah.
Like I obviously never met the man, but anyone I met just says fucking great things, always about him. Like,
can't describe Willie other than he had time for everyone, and he was just the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like, and then you see him behind a drum kit, and you're like, Jesus, that's the same fella. Like, he was just an absolute animal. But like, yeah, he wouldn't pass you on the street without saying hello and stopping and rolling a cigarette, and he would just you talk away for ages. Like, nicest guy you'll ever meet. So real shame. Like, but plenty of good memories.
Mm-hmm. That's good that he's still remembered and people are still saying good things about him. So that's a testament to him. So
definitely.
You might even play. Have you ever given a tribute to him with any of the bands that you've come back with Haint? Did you ever do anything like that, or I don't know?
God, I don't know. I don't even know if anybody could do it justice, to be honest with you, because there was no one else like Willie. Nobody. I couldn't tell. I couldn't really tell you. Well, maybe John from Stranglewire, like, he's one hell of a drummer, like, but there's very few people could even approach the sort of stuff that Willie was doing. So it would, if anyone's going to do it, it would probably be Stranglewire. We're close to it, like, but I certainly wouldn't have the capacity to go there, like.
Yeah, but Haint is a very different type of music now to Condemned, anyway.
Massively, yeah. Yeah. I think I've managed to play most genres of music over the years, but Condemned was definitely everything seemed a bit easier after Condemned. Certainly a bit slower.
Slower, yeah.
Your music is technical enough, though. It's not going to be like your bass there in the background, Darren. I don't know how many strings are on that, but a lot.
Oh, 6, yeah.
6.
5s and 6s. The collection.
It's unusual to see a completely dedicated bass player. Usually it's a guitarist come bass player come guitarist. It's never usually just the bass player on his own. Like,
no, and that's it. I started playing when I was about 15, 16, and from then I've always been a bass player. First, it seems so topical and really bad, but the first album I ever learned to play was Master of Puppets. That was a guy at school had the bass tab book. I bought myself a cheap £90 Encore PBS, borrowed the Master of Puppets tab book, and that was it. Just taught myself to play bass. But yeah, 30 years ago.
You were the original Eddie Munster, so from Stranger Things. You were there.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's just, it seems so topical now, but it's like my son has a bass, and he's like, oh, I want to learn this. I want to learn that song, because he's seen people on TikTok and stuff playing it.
Yeah.
So I've now got to teach my son to play Master Puppets on the bass. I'm like, okay.
Not too bad. What age is he?
8.
8. Jesus, he's starting young and wants to play Master of Puppets. Like that's good.
Well, if he can do it, I'll be mighty impressed. But also, that'll be good things for the future, the next generation.
Oh, precisely. Like, and things like the whole thing with Stranger Things. Like, I don't know what people's overall view on it, but I think it's great because it's introducing a whole new generation to Metallica again. Like,
That's true.
because nowadays, with the way the media's gone, it's TikTok or the whole chart, not top 30 hits, and then the radio and MTV and all that kind of stuff is gone. So
Yeah.
you need some sort of a gateway. So if it's Stranger Things that's going to do it, fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's all very different these days.
There could be worse music that they're listening to.
And there is worse music that they could be listening to.
There is a lot worse. Yeah.
I think since maybe the 90s, well, obviously not quite the 90s, but since then, the slide in the commercial side of music and the chart is just getting, I don't know, it's getting worse and worse every year. What I can see anyway, there's no proper songs anymore. It's all just somebody on a computer somewhere.
I think people's attention spans are non-existent these days, you know. And I think the pandemic kind of hit home on that as well. You know, because we were just nothing else to do, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, the TikTok generation, you know.
Well, funny enough, I heard something really interesting about that last night. So I've since COVID kicked in, I've been getting really into music production. But I was watching a thing last night talking about music, and in the old days, intros to songs, the theory is that they were created so DJs could talk over them to introduce a song when it was being played on the radio. You look now, and because of the TikTok generation, because of the instant access, how many intros are gone? It's because people don't have the attention span anymore to wait that length of time for the intro to finish and for the actual song to begin.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't like it. I have my views on TikTok. I'm not going to go into them here now on this, like, but
well, it's funny because I've just convinced Ian to create a Haint TikTok because it's a way of accessing people.
You have to.
You have to do it. You have to be up to date.
I don't know how you're going to advertise yourselves in 30 seconds, but you can give it a shot anyway. I suppose.
Ian kind of already does it because Ian likes to put up little clips of him playing our riffs. So I said, well, it's perfect TikTok material.
Yeah.
Good point, actually. And as you say, with social media now, Facebook is still okay, but it's not what it used to be. Instagram I think it's pretty much useless for bands unless you can. I don't know. It seems to have changed so often. It goes to stories and over and back. I don't know. It's
a strange algorithm these days. That's for sure. Yeah.
But you have to keep on top of it.
Yeah. I think that's it too. Yeah. You know, again, because of the limited attention span people have, like, you've got to be wary of bombarding people at the same time, but you've really got to keep on them, you know, and push whatever it is you're doing.
Precisely. But on Bloodstock itself, you've obviously touched on a few bands that you want to see, but who would you be definitely your go-to bands no matter what? Like, Merciful Fate would probably be up there, I'd say, would it?
I never really, I'll probably get a lot of stick for this, like, but I've never really liked Merciful Fate, to be honest with you. I loved their, was it Andy LaRock, their guitarist? Like, he's unreal. But I just could never get past the vocals when I was younger, like, you know. For me, like, you know, just having Exodus and Testament back to back, especially Testament with Dave Lombardo, I think that'll just be absolutely mind-blowing. Darren and I are big fans of Ginger, you know. God, who else?
Probably watch Lamb of God. I'll enjoy watching Lamb of God.
Lamb of God, Steve, our drummer.
It'll just be good. It'll be good to watch live, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steve's mad on Killing Joke.
Steve's
Killing Joke, yeah.
I think if we left and Steve didn't get to watch Killing Joke, it ruined his whole weekend. Like that would be a friend.
That'd be the end of the band.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And of course, if you want to get a bit of a death metal fix, you have Cattle Decapitation in there as well too on Sunday.
Yeah.
Probably watch
Absolutely.
Do you know, I genuinely intend to spend as much time at the New Blood stage as possible.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. I want to be seeing all the bands in the New Blood stage.
I was talking to Nomadis and Fornot, and they said they were going to try and network with other bands in the New Blood stage and maybe try and organize gig swaps and stuff. Have you any plans to do anything like that? Or
I mean, I think if anything, that's where the New Blood stage is really going to come into its own, because already, just through, the likes of this and the likes of some of the other sort of paper-based interviews and things that we've done, a lot of bands are reaching out, and there was talks of ourselves and Tombs getting over before Bloodstock next week, and we're trying to organize something to try and get a couple of shows leading up to it, and it just logistically it just wasn't going to happen.
It's just too short notice, wasn't it?
Yeah, just short notice, but that's the luxury of having 3 days at this thing, is who knows who you're going to meet and who knows who's going to notice you, and you do make contacts, and it is just about networking. It's for us, it's not, there'll be a lot of having fun, but for the most part I think it'll be getting interviews done, networking, trying to get our name out there and just capitalizing on this. James Loveday, God love that man. He's one of the best, but that's one of the first things he said. He's like, winning the competition is just the first step,
Yeah, you've got so many opportunities on Friday as well too, because you'll be VIP and you get all the interview slots, and if you will hopefully get a load of them. Like I know Marshall Times will be there anyway for definite, so definitely approach them. And of course Rock and Load will be there. I know it's a local source, but still it's another one. Like
doesn't matter. We will talk to everybody that we can.
It's the way you have to do it, like like there was a bit of a joke going around for years that don't do a Psychosis on it.
It's like, oh, what happened?
Psychosis, I'm kind of breaking down a wall here, but Psychosis, like basically the day they were doing the interviews, they got really fucking drunk and it was just carnage back there with them. But they obviously done something right, because they were playing the Sophie Lancaster stage 2 years later, so it's a weird.
We've heard of other bands who've been described as squandering it, getting too hammered to be able to make the most of the day.
Make the most of it. Yeah. No.
Definitely not.
There's plenty of time for fun.
Mm-hmm. You'll have all of Saturday and Sunday to do that.
Yep. Exactly. I'll still be using every opportunity to get the word out, get the name out as much as we can. Like.
Exactly.
Are you going to bring any stickers or cups or any sort of promo materials with you, or are you just going to try and do a word of mouth?
It's funny you mention that. Like, I don't even know if we're allowed to mention it. Like, but we had there's a friend of ours, Andy. He works in a place called Powerworks, and God, everybody knows the infamous spoons. They Haint spoons, like so. But we'd got Bloodstock spatulas done. Or Steve did, our drummer, with just Bloodstock 2022 and whatever else.
With the logo.
You'll not be able to sell these. So that was the plan, but we've t-shirts for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And
we got the spoons.
We've got our spoons.
We'll have it all with us. So
yeah, fucking spoons.
Well, you probably put up like a lot of Irish bands do. They put up a flag on the main. Have you been to Bloodstock before, lads?
I've not.
We haven't. No, that's one of the only ones we haven't been to. No,
because there's basically one main entrance, and when Irish bands are usually playing, they put up a flag, an Irish tricolour or whatever, and just put up the name of the band and New Blood stage Fridays in your case and whatever time, and that way there's thousands of people walking through seeing the flag.
That's cool.
Or even if you just done up some sort of maybe not even a flag because of the political thing, I don't know if it's a thing in your world, but Maybe just get the Irish rugby flag or something and just do it that way. You know, keep everyone happy and try and draw people down, because you can never, who's going to see it? Like, you know, people walking past and they're like, oh, Irish band down there on the New Blood stage, we'll go down and check them out. Like,
Yep. Yep.
Easy enough done too, and you can just do it and get a couple of cable ties and stick it up on the fence.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, yeah. I think we'll be there, Thursday evening, you know, so try and do as much as we can, if we can. Depends how quickly we get our tent and stuff and all up, and then just go mad on the Friday morning as well.
Bloodstock is just so nice. Everyone there is so friendly. Like, so even if you do talk to people and try and promote, they'll be happy to talk to you. If you meet someone that tells you to piss off, you've done well. Like, you've managed to, you've had a fucking one of those like treasure hunter things out to find them. Like, you know.
That's good.
You just given me like something to aim for.
Darren is gonna find that one person.
I'm gonna annoy someone so much to tell me to.
And to be honest with you, lads, my favourite thing about Bloodstock is the fact that it wins awards every year for the toilet's cleanliness.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
because you gotta worry, like, you know.
But this is the first year in a long time I haven't been able to attend. And one of the things that I buy a ticket before a band was announced normally, because it's such a nice festival. It's so compact, so well laid out, so relaxed. And when you go into a toilet, you're not going to face fucking third plus encounters of the third kind. It's going to be clean, like, you know.
Yeah. I stopped going to the festivals over here because I went to Grass Pop years ago, and the European festivals, the toilets are just so much better than what the fucking long drops in chemical toilets. So to hear that makes me very happy.
All good.
Yeah, getting set in my ways. Not really looking forward to that shitty chemical toilet.
No.
The worst part I find about a festival is when you kind of, if it's wake up in the morning, if it's a hot morning and you go hard after the night before, and you wake up in that tent with an air mattress on the sleeping bag, you're like a fucking chicken in an oven. There's if a part of your body doesn't have sweat on it, you're actually wondering what's wrong with it.
And again, it is supposed to be hot. Like every weather forecast says that it's going to be mid-20s in the Midlands for that weekend. So it's going to be a hot one.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll sleep in the back of the van. Might be a bit cooler.
Could be.
I suppose you'll all be camped in the one area anyway. I imagine you're being with the Distortion Project and Nomadis and all the rest. You'll all kind of be together, will you? Yeah? Or is that the plan?
I think there's specific camping, I think, for the bands, you know,
the artists.
Yeah. Which, looking at the map, looks wee bit out of the way towards the other camping, but here, you know, I'm sure we'll meet up with all of them, like.
Bloodstock is so compact. You 10 minutes would bring you a long way, like.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really, really compact, and like when you'll go in, you'll see the Sophie Lancaster stage. Then you go down a bit, you'll have the Jaeger, the Ronnie Dio stage, and then you'll have the New Blood stage down the bottom, and you're right beside the Ronnie James Dio bar as well too. So even if it is quiet when you're starting, and people are beside the bar and all around, thousands of people. So chances are people start coming in, then it's like the sound of you know.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
Well, we intend to make sure that they can hear us.
Oh, they'll be able to hear you, all right.
Have to turn up even louder.
You'll have a great setup there anyway, so you don't have to worry about anything. I assume you know it's the Bloodstock how well it's ran at this stage, like.
It's I'm really looking forward to it. The more people talk about it, and the closer it gets, and the more things are starting to happen, especially when you're seeing things online, and I think they put up a video the other day of like the first like sort of trucks and things starting to arrive to set everything up. It's like, oh, it's happening. It's always good.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big step for you anyway, and hopefully now everything goes well for you. The weather, piss and rain when you're playing, you know, all the good things that can happen, you know.
Yeah.
Get that 10 fucking packed out, like.
That's the aim. That's the aim. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? But yeah.
Whatever happens, we'll make the most of it.
Yes.
I assume have you played in festivals before? You have, of course, haven't you? Have you played a big outdoor festival before?
Yeah, stand-up guy played just before we did like disbanded, 2010. We did Download and Sonosphere and Tea in the Park and a couple of other big festivals, like, you know, so it's a different world, like it's a completely different world doing outdoor festivals, like, but yeah, that was my first venture into it, like.
Well, you went straight to the top there, so anyway.
And then the band disbanded, you know, so that's I think I got to do it all, you know.
Not this time.
Not this time. No way.
Ah, well, when you look back on your time in stand-up guy, you can always say, well, you kind of went out on a high. You played you played Donington and you played Sonosphere, like, you know.
Always, like, yeah.
When you look back, you can't really ask for much more than that, can you?
No, that was it. Like, I could have died happy, like, you know what I mean? It was, yeah, good times.
And Condemned, Darren, did they play any bigger festivals, or was it kind of smaller stuff? Or
No, they did. Not while I was with them. I'm trying to think. No, it was mainly old dayers and stuff. I've played a couple of, not to that extent, smaller festivals around the likes of Manchester and the Northwest and stuff with some of the bands I was in that, you know, in that area, but nothing to that scale.
mm-hmm.
So I've done outdoor festivals. I've done stages to 5 people and a couple of hundred, but yeah, nothing. This will be definitely a new experience.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. And I bet you're glad you kind of held on now and kept going, and because it's a big reward for, like, you know, it's like I remember in the run up, I was talking to the Nomadis lads, and they said that basically on the night you deserve to go through, but the kind of feeling was that it was probably going to be Survivalists that were going to take it because they were the hype band at the moment up there.
That's what we thought.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that we didn't have a chance because of the likes of Survivalist and Modest. And it was only when Simon got up and called us, what was he, superlative? He used the word superlative when he was describing us, and that was my greatest went, we might actually have a chance at this. But I totally thought like Survivalist and the Modest.
Yeah.
Would be the ones to go through.
Because Survivalist had really, you know, they just got the earache distribution deal thing going on, and like they were, you know, they just released their album, and you know, if anyone's stars were aligning, like I genuinely thought it would be theirs, like, you know. But again, Nomadis, again, we're just outstanding, great guys, like, so it'll be amazing seeing them on a big stage next week.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be missing them myself, because I had a good chat with them the last day. They're sound lads, like they're awful sound lads, like they're fucking just happy out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, got really hungry for it, you know, and I think that's a good thing, you know.
Oh, it's great that they got the opportunity as well, because it looked for a while there, it looked like it wasn't going to be too many Irish bands representing at Bloodstock this year, but there's 4 in the end now, so that's good, like.
Yeah, absolutely, because like Simon was very, very impressed with them, like on the night, and even I had said to Freddie, like even before they were announced for this, I was like, these are still in with a chance. Like, Simon was impressed, and lo and behold, you know.
Yeah, and they done everything right after they did get eliminated. They did play at every gig they could possibly play. They constantly kept their name out there. And Simon Hall does watch bands, so he probably thought, well, these lads are still going for it no matter what, so let's give them a shot. Like.
And that's what I mean. Like, they were hungry, you know, and you could tell, you know, that they've a really good following around Belfast, and again, they're good at what they do, and people notice that. Like, yeah, if you're not, you can be a really good band, but you don't have to be too far from the stage to know when a band is good, but not entirely into what it is they're doing. But you can tell that Nomadis are really into what they do, and I think that's every bit as important as everything else, you know.
Mhm. And before we play a bit of your music here, now we've got a minute of it, just a video, a live video. You've been confirmed for the Crypt of the Rift Festival as well, yeah.
We have, yeah, in December. Yeah, thanks to Jake.
Oh, fair play to Jake. He really gives it his all between Elder Druid and Dark Arts, and now the other promotions company, Old Smoke Promotions as well. Like,
that's right. Yeah, he's a good lad. Like, he's a good lad. And the lineup he's put together for those 2 days is just insane. Like, you know, so
it is like as I said to Adrian when we were doing the roundup there yesterday, it's the best of the Northern Irish scene outside of Nomadis. Everyone else, they're the only ones that I can see that's missing, that really would just be the icing on it. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like you've Sky Pilot and Stranglewire and yourselves, and I can't remember exactly who else is on it now, but it's a quality lineup.
Molar Bear and
Polar Bear.
Yeah, God, it's gonna be strange, like, yeah. But no, it is. It's yeah. So I think we've no other confirmed Belfast gigs up until then. And to be honest with you, they would probably like to stay away from Belfast for a bit. With a few shows confirmed for mainland England, we're trying to get sorted for November time.
Oh, very good.
Try and get over again, because we did, just post-pandemic, Scotland were the first country to really start introducing gigs back again. And we still only up to that stage played our first ever show. So we ended up going over to Scotland, and we played Hordes Festival in Dundee and played a show in Edinburgh. And yeah, it just helped us plant our feet a wee bit.
That's mad. You had to go over to Scotland just to play your second gig, like.
I know. I know. But it was good fun.
No, it was great. It was get away for a couple of days and see some new people. But as you were saying there about taking a break from Belfast, but it's getting very hard now to get gigs anywhere else around Ireland. I think realistically, the Siege would be one you'd probably be able to do, I'd say, but.
Yeah, again, that's definitely something that's been on my radar is playing Siege, because there's just there's always a big buzz around it, and again, always a cracking lineup and really professional, and yeah, I think we would love to be playing Siege at some point. Like,
I should fire on John a message. You mightn't have got the lineup together for Halloween yet.
This is it.
See if you're playing Bloodstock, like, you're definitely good enough to play the Siege, like, so.
You'd hope so.
Hope so.
Yeah,
let's see how we do it Bloodstock first.
Of course. But Cork has kind of dried up a bit now with Con and Mark at Paranoid Beast calling it a day, and it's just Evan at Dead Cult now. And Dublin, there's not much going on at all now. Like, Drop Dead twice, we're starting to get heavy gigs into it, and the fucking place burned down. So now you've just really got Fibbers, and that's limited enough to usually the Thursday night Rage night or Friday night. Like,
yes, I was watching the Nomadis interview. You were talking about that. That's crazy. Yeah. Like, is it salvageable, the place? Like, or
they're working on it. All right, they've set up a GoFundMe and everything, but it's going to take a while. Like, there was a lot of damage done.
It's mad.
It's a fucking shame, like, because Dublin is getting harder and harder. They're ripping the fucking culture out of Dublin all the time. Like Fibbers now, and the big. Do you know Fibbers, the big beer garden at the back? Like, they're building a fucking hotel in there, like.
Yeah, I'd seen that. Like, yeah.
That could finish.
And then you'd Voodoo as well, like, because there's nothing.
Voodoo's gone. Voodoo is dance club again now.
Really?
Yeah, Voodoo. It goes and swings and roundabouts. It was your man from the Fun Loving Criminals. It was one of the owners.
That's right.
And they had all sorts of everything. Then it went to dance and rave. Then it went back to rock and metal and alternative, and now it's gone back the other way again now. The Grand Social is kind of where he's putting on all the gigs now.
Right, okay. God. There was even a place called The Temple, which is just as you're coming into Dublin. And I remember back in the days, like, when Stan and Guy were kind of still cutting their teeth. Like, we used to play in this wee underground place called The Temple. I don't even know if it's still there, like, you know what I mean? But Belfast is the same, other really than Voodoo. It's the place is kind of drying up a wee bit for where to play.
The Nomadis lad said losing the war zone was a big blow to you, like.
I only ever was really in it once. You know what I mean? I think for the whole DIY and sort of punk and hardcore side of things, I think it was a good place to have. You know, I remember, obviously I'm old enough to remember when it was Jarrows way back in the day, like, and when it was the Warzone Centre was over the other side of town, you know, and you had all sorts of bands playing there, like God Refused played there, and loads of great hardcore bands, and there was Warzone Festival there like almost every year, and then again developers moved in, and then it disappears, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. You know, the Warzone was part of the venue, and it's now completely demolished. It's crazy.
Even when you do find gigs now, you're seeing the early shows are creeping in more and more, you know, kicking you out by 9:30 so they can still have their club night.
Well, that was it, yeah.
That's kind of awkward for a lot of people too, as well. To be getting in for 6 o'clock in the evening, and might only be finishing work at 6.
Well, that was it. You know, the you know, that recent show we did in Belfast there, you know, that was the case. You know, the doors were at 6:30, and then the whole thing had to be over. You know, we were off stage at 9:30 to be out for them to start the club nights. You know, because that's, again, I suppose it's a business. You know, they want to make their money, but it's a shame that that's how they have to do it.
Yeah, sure. That's unfortunately the world we're living in now. I think at the moment it's just,
I know,
it's kind of original music. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's dying or anything of the such, but the venues are starting to really die out. Like, you know, there's very few places now left at this stage. Like,
that's it.
Even trad bands and stuff like that, all their corners are getting ripped out from under them as well too. Like,
isn't that mad? Like, yeah.
Like back in the day, you couldn't fucking walk. You could throw a stone and you'd hit some lad playing a banjo or something in a bar somewhere, like, you know.
When tradition is being outweighed by greed and whatever else, like that's when you know it's fucking dark times. Like,
sure. You've got to say, well, you're playing Bloodstock. You've still got the Limelight, and you've got the Voodoo up there, and hopefully now with the old Smoke Boys and Jake. And Jesus Christ, James, of course. Yeah. You know, you've got people up there making an effort, which is really good. Like,
yep, definitely.
Sure. Well, knock on this. We've got this one, but just a 1 minute track. It's just it's a live video before your. What's the name of your single that drops on Friday? Actually, sorry.
Aries.
Aries.
Comes out on. Well, Darren will tell you more because he's the poor man that's having to sit next to Master probably at this moment in time. Like, so go on, so. But Aries should be out on Friday. Fingers crossed.
No, Aries will be out on Friday. What time on Friday? That's the part that it'll be out on Friday.
It'll be out on Friday.
How long is the song?
How long is it?
Yeah.
It's about 3.5 to 4 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not too long. So.
Yeah.
You're not one of those bands that writes all like 5, 7, 8 minute long songs, no?
No, been there, done that with stand-up guy, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, we don't have any long songs. All our songs, I think, in that way, our songs are quite accessible.
Oh, that'll be handy too because you'd only have 30 minutes of Bloodstock, so that means you'll be able to get a bit more in than usual. Like, because normally with bands that are like, you're kind of like progressive sludge like type band. You normally get 3 fucking songs in and that's it, right off. Good luck.
Yeah.
3? That's optimistic.
I think we've 5 songs and whatever interludes and intros we have, like, so.
Yeah, that's it. We like to fill out between the songs with things like samples. We're not a chatty bunch. On stage.
On stage. No. Let the music do the talking.
Exactly. We'll knock on this 1 minute video so people can get an idea. And if you're going to Bloodstock, make sure you check them out. Here we go. unfortunately, that's all that's on there now. But command Wayne Donaldson for uploading that anyway. It gave me something to work with today before I give people an idea what you kind of. The dual vocals are very cool anyway.
Cheers, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, like it's something that Darren and I have worked really, really hard on, over the last wee while to try and get right, and anybody who is thinking about coming and seeing us, I think that's maybe what's going to surprise them the most. It's just like, our stuff isn't always screaming. There's a lot of harmonies in there. There's a lot of melody. There's a lot of real dynamics. Real quiet bits and build-ups, and then balls to the wall, heaviest stuff that we can throw at you. It's there, like So it runs the gamut.
Yeah, and we'll both switch. It's not like, some bands you'll have one, you can tell one of the band members is the screamer and one is the singer. we switch it around, and we try to keep everyone guessing.
Yeah,
that's right. We've worked on it quite a bit, and some of that has just been even trying to work out what we can do, like we were saying earlier. But no, we think we've come up with something interesting and something that not a lot of other bands do.
Yeah.
Which probably was a big factor in you getting the Bloodstock, because if you're different, you're always going to have a better chance. Because at the end of the day, even though you're in a competition in Belfast, you're also in a competition with basically all of the UK.
Yeah.
Because Simon Hall is going all over the UK getting bands.
Exactly.
So if he comes to a certain venue and he's just like, well, I've got X amount, I've got Death, I've got Black, I've got this, I've got that. And then he comes and he sees Haint, and I haven't got a Haint. I want a Haint.
Yeah. And again, like 3 guys, no release music. I think that's fantastic.
Even though we brought them up earlier about Don't Do a Psychosis, they actually had nothing released either when they played. Even the Social Lancaster stage hadn't anything released.
There you go.
They got Bloodstock on the back of just their live performance, and they brought them back and put them on the Sophie before the album came out even.
Yeah.
Well, at least by the end of this year, we should have our EP out. It kind of links back to what we were saying about, digital these days. This is it. The days, I think the days of releasing albums and EPs, people can do it. But again, that idea of constant exposure on social media, we're going the route of releasing a song every month for 5 months. Once they're all released, it'll be collected into an EP, but we're going to do it to keep that constant flow of music for people to appreciate. And it gives me time to mix every song.
Yeah.
And the way it's gone now, with the way people are, it's more sense to just spread it out and keep people on board, because if you drop it all together, what are you going to do then for the next however long again? And
you fall off the radar.
Yeah.
We're kind of, in a way we're kind of following. There's a Canadian band called Spirit Box who were very DIY initially. And they did the same thing at this beginning. They did a lot of their own mix and mastering. They even did their own videos, but they kept that constant stream. They were releasing song by song, collecting them together, releasing another 5 songs. That's another EP. And they've got signed, they're touring. It works. It is a mechanism that works.
And are you working on new stuff all the time? Yeah.
He is. How many hits have you got on your phone?
Thousands. Thousands.
We recorded 5 songs. Well, we got but we already have 2 more songs that we will play at gigs. We've got another song that Ian's been writing the lyrics for, and then there's at least 1 more song after that. So new stuff will come as soon as we get these 5 songs released. It'll be probably getting ourselves set up to record the next batch.
Yeah,
that's good then, because you've spread it out and you've kept the name out, and then by the time the EP drops at the end of the year, you've potentially got another EP ready to go up more or less from then. Yeah. Even if you only recorded it 1 track at a time, like.
That's it. Well, the drums for this have been done for a long time, and then like Darren and I have just been adding our parts. But I think Aries is our opening track, whenever we play live, and I think it's probably the best representation of our music, because it has just a bit of everything of who we are in there, again, from the dynamics part and the heavy parts and whatever else, so Friday we shall see. We shall see what people think.
And if that's your kind of advertisement song, that's the best one to get out before you go to Bloodstock, like.
Yep.
If you're only gonna get one song out, get the one that kind of gives an overall view of what you're about. Like,
because we're already kind of lining up for the next single, and it's again a completely different side of us, whereas like Aries is probably it's our bread and butter in terms of it shows all shades of who we are.
Great stuff. So anyways, we'll leave it at that now, and you're playing on the New Blood stage at Bloodstock. And what time are you playing on the Friday?
We're not allowed to say until next week.
All right, grand.
Do you know what? I was just in my brain racking it, and you're right. We've been told not, but because things are still changeable, we've been.
Yeah. So everything's all will change, and there could be a band pulling out and everything else. Like,
but it's gonna be sort of late afternoon, potentially on the Friday, but we will. I think Monday we're allowed to officially say. So watch this space.
Yeah, it is Monday. Yeah.
Oh, that's not long to go anyway. You've just got keep the fans waiting, build anticipation,
I can't keep anything under my fucking hat though. Like, so bad for like Christmas time, you know what I mean? But thank you so much, Phil. Thanks.
No bother, lads, and best of luck at Bloodstock, and hopefully everything goes well for you. And as again, hopefully the fucking sky's open when you come on and everyone goes in and sees you.
Sounds weird, but I'll be doing the rain dance on the Friday morning.
Right, lads, 100%. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, Phil.
Thanks.